All right, we are taking the week 7 quiz today, and so I'm just putting together a little review. Shout out to Syed in quarter 1 for asking me to do this for you all. The quiz is mostly talking about sine, cosine, tangent, and inverse sine, inverse cosine, and inverse tangent. You really have to be able to understand when you use those. So I always say, write the little princess's name, SOHCAHTOA, right? And then you know that sine is opposite sine. It's opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. And everything's based on your reference angle. So if we go through the 5 steps are always to mark the reference angle. Okay, so if I were to say angle A, there I marked my reference angle. And then it's to label your hypotenuse, your opposite, and your adjacent sides. So if my reference angle is A, then I always know that the side across from the 90 degrees is the hypotenuse. It's the longest side. Then if this is the little person and his arms are here, this is the adjacent. The arms are always going to touch the hypotenuse and one of the sides. So the hypotenuse is labeled hypotenuse. The other side the arm touches is adjacent, and then opposite. Okay, then usually I say, if I go through my steps, is circle the information you have. Well, in my little example here, I have everything, but you're going to set up equation. That's going to be choose, is it going to be sine, cosine, or tangent? And then 5, or this could also be inverse, and then step 5 is to solve. Okay, so here sine A, this is my reference angle, so I would say sine A equals opposite 3 over 5, opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine A equals adjacent 4 over 5, and then tangent of A is opposite over adjacent, 3 over 4. So you really need to know those things, and it's going to be different if I have a different reference angle, because if I were to use B as my reference angle, this is still my hypotenuse, but now this side is opposite and this side is adjacent. So you have to know what your reference angle is. Okay. Now, what is the difference between using sine, cosine, tangent, and inverse sine, inverse cosine, and inverse tangent? Well, the inverse is you're looking for the inside, right, angle. And the angle could be written like this: the measure of angle x. Well, that's talking about this angle right here. It could also be written in words: measure of angle x, or it could be find b degrees, and see how b is listed on the inside. All 3 of these notations, measure of angle x, written in symbol in like mathematical terms, written out in English language, measure of angle x, or b degrees, all 3 of these reference this angle. And if I was going to do that, and I wanted to find, let's say I only have this information right here. So we're going to go through, I'm going to mark my reference angle. I'm going to label hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. I'm going to circle what information I have. I have opposite and adjacent, so when I look up here I have opposite, adjacent. So I know it's going to be tangent of b degrees, because whatever follows the tangent, sine, or cosine is always whatever is the measure of the angle, like if it was 43 degrees or whatever, and that's going to equal opposite over adjacent. Typically when we solve these problems up here, I would put this like I've talked about putting it over 1. Let's say I know that it's tangent of 43 degrees equals x over 4. Well, then I would go over 1 and I would do cross products, right? But if I don't know the angle, then I have to do the inverse, and I'm going to take inverse tangent of 3/4. that's going to equal b degrees. So notice when you have the degree measure, when you have a number for the degrees, you're going to do cross products. When you don't have the number for the degrees, then you're going to do inverse. And that's the crux of the lesson, okay? But remember, some other things that we need to be aware of is factoring. So if I have something like x squared plus 3x plus 2, okay, I'm going to set up the factoring like this, and I'm going to get x squared and 2. I'm going to multiply those two together. We're going to get 2x squared on the top. This middle term goes on the bottom. What numbers multiply to make 2 that add to make 3? Oh, 2 and 1. So 1x and 2x. And then you're going to factor this out. I factor out an x. There's going to be an x goes here. There's going to be a 1. Pull out a 2. And then 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 2x, or 2 times x is 2x. Okay, all this works out. So this is going to be x plus 1, x plus 2. Okay, you can also factor something when it's like this. Let's say 25x squared minus 16. Okay, so when I set up the box for this one, this is going to be 25x squared goes here, negative 16 goes here. When I set this, I have to multiply these together. Why did I pick such big numbers? So let's see what 25 times 16 is. You know how to use your Desmos calculator, right? I don't know if you guys can see the Desmos calculator. Maybe not on this video because that's not what's showing up on the screen. 25 times 16. This is going to be a tough one. I'm trying to use my phone right now to use a calculator. Okay, but I have to press 48 buttons to make it work. Okay, I think 28 times 20. Let me go like this. 25 times 16. It's going to be 30, 18, 19, 21. Then 5, 2. So I'm going to get 0, 6, 0, 6, 460. This is not going to be fun. 460. And then notice there's a 0. That can't be right. 460 is not. Let me get a calculator. Apps. Here we go. Calculator. 25 times 16. Oh, 400. Why did I do this? 18. No, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so that's right, 400. That would work out so much better. So what numbers multiply to make 400 that add to make 0? 20 and negative 20. So we're going to go, I'll put the negative 20 here and 20 here. What can I pull out? The same process. We're going to get 5x. These are supposed to be x's because that's x squared. Pull out a 5x, so that's going to be a 4. 4 times negative 4. And then 5 times 5x. So see how it's 5x plus 4, 5x minus 4. Well, if I could have recognized that this was a difference of two squares, this is 5x times 5x, and this is 4 times 4, I could have just gone straight from here to here. But I had to work around and fight with my calculator on my phone. All right? And then the other thing is, do you remember all the names of these angles? 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so if like 4 and 5, angle 5 and angle 4 is a linear pair because it makes a beautiful rainbow. Angle 5 and angle 3 across from each other, that's vertical angles. Verticals. Angle 5 and angle 7, 5 and 7, they're corresponding. Angle 6 and angle 2, you notice how these two are on the inside and they alternate across, alternate interior angles. And I think that's pretty much what we talked about. 1 and 5 are actually alternate exterior angles. 2 and 8 are vertical angles. 1 and 7 are vertical angles. Okay, so just knowing the names. So this is stuff we've done in the past, but this is still being reminded on the test. But your main focus is actually SOHCAHTOA and understanding what's on that. So good luck on your quiz today. You will need a pen and paper to do work on the side, and you will need to access the Desmos Scientific Calculator. Have a great day.